All right, welcome back YouTube. We have a really cool video today because we're gonna take you on a little bit of a story time as we explore basically some information and a whole process we've gone through to get an answer to a very big question. And the question is, it was brought up on the internet, even I thought of it a few times, is Wookie and chocolate the same? Or how similar are they? And so I set about this year to try to figure out how similar they are, if they're allelic or what the situation is, and we now officially have the answer and I get to share it with you guys. I'm gonna take you through the story and the way we found out. Okay, the first step along this path was to figure out what resources I had, and the one big resource I had was an awesome male. I showed it to you guys when I hatched those crazy Wookie combos. It's the 5-gene black pastel spot nose yellow belly red stripe Wookie het clown. What a crazy combo this ended up being. Some great spotting here along the top, but just overall the color is so red, so blushed, and of course it's just packed full of dark genes. It has the black pastel and the Wookie in it. Of course the yellow belly, spot nose, all these things all work together to make a combo that doesn't cover each other up at all. It all works in concert. So I knew that if spot nose and chocolate were allelic, and if I could prove that spot nose and Wookie were also allelic, then I could prove, without a doubt, through deductive reasoning, that chocolate and Wookie were at least in the same complex and allelic, which mean necessarily they're the same, but they're very similar enough that they're in the same group of morph, the same morph family, more or less. So that first pairing I did was to that Mojave GHI clown, and we got those crazy snakes. And I'll go ahead and update you on how those look now, and we'll talk about what we discovered. All right, so here's the one of the coolest snakes we made this year. The Kraken, we kind of affectionately call it here because it has like octopus suckers all over it. Now this one, we still don't know exactly what it is. I would say black pastel, GHI, Mojave, Wookie, yellow belly clown, that's my guess. But we don't know what it is, and could I rule out spot nose in this animal? Not really. I couldn't know based on the fact that I can't prove it out just yet exactly what genetics it has. This animal hatched from that clutch, and also the awesome one, what we call the Aussie snake, because it has OZZ and a Y on this end actually. So this one actually, we were trying to figure out, does this one have spot nose? Does it have spot nose and Wookie? Because in order to prove that it's allelic, the snakes would be either Wookie or spot nose, but could not be both and could not have neither gene either. So these two animals was indeterminate, basically, on the clutch, whether or not these could have both or none. So in the end, that first clutch was a complete wash to figure out if they're allelic or not. So this next clutch we did was a Wookie spot nose red stripe ivory het clown. So a lot of really cool stuff in there, but basically a white snake. It was 100% clown, but it had Wookie and spot nose in it. And we ended up with these really crazy results. So this is just 3 there's actually 5 in the clutch, but we ended up with this Wookie yellow belly butter, really pretty. This is Orange Dream yellow belly red stripe butter Wookie. One of my favorite Wookie combos I made this year that's not a clown. Absolutely insane. And then this one is butter yellow belly spot nose. So no Wookie in this. So we ended up with 4 Wookies and 1 spot nose. No spot nose Wookies, none of them that had neither Wookie or spot nose. So this was our first indicator more clearly that they could be allelic just from this one clutch, but it was only 5 eggs, so we did not necessarily have a big enough sample size. So after that, we had a really interesting clutch from that original 5-gene male, and again, it turned out very complicated. But my takeaway was that there was no Wookie spot noses and no normals in the clutch. And so, even though it was really complicated, I wanted to get one more clutch that was more simple in order to get the answer. And then just 2 weeks ago, we hatched out and shed out a clutch now that really is pretty definitive. So the last clutch we did was the same ivory Wookie spot nose red stripe het clown bred to a regular clown. So pretty simple overall, and I'll show you what we got. So here on the table we have 4 Wookie yellow belly clown combos. These are both Wookie yellow belly clowns, really awesome. And these I believe are Wookie yellow belly red stripe clowns. You see how much lighter they are and how red the sides on them are. Really cool. 4 Wookie clowns. Then we ended up with 4 Wookie yellow belly het clowns. Then we ended up with 1 spot nose in the clutch at all, a really nice spot nose yellow belly het clown. So in the end, we ended up with 8 Wookie combos, 1 spot nose combo, no Wookie spot nose, and none that are neither Wookie or spot nose. All right, so those are all the babies we hatched, kind of give you an overview of what we've done. Overall, we probably had about 35 eggs, and of those eggs, probably about 20 of them were pretty clear what they were, and so we could feel a lot of confidence in the results. The last ones were really, really hard. But overall, I feel like we've had enough eggs, we've had enough clutches that we can say with some confidence now that Wookie and spot nose are officially allylic. The breakdown on that is that also means that Wookie and chocolate are also allylic. So the next question becomes in everybody's mind, well, you know, Justin, chocolates are much less expensive than Wookies. Are they really exactly the same more, or is it worth the money? So to answer that question, in my opinion, chocolate and Wookie are very, very similar and have similar combos. Does that mean they're the same? I don't necessarily know the answer to that, because personally, the Wookies I've received, the Wookies I've made have all been very complex as far as what genes are in there. And also most of the chocolate combos I've made have been very complex, a lot of different genes, and so it's hard for me to compare apples to apples, like saying, here's a single gene Wookie, here's a single gene chocolate. How different are they? I don't know. In my opinion, I think they very well could be very similar and yet have different features and make different combos. And so I'm going to leave that up to you, the viewer, to experiment that, try to figure it out, you know, how much you want to put into the project. I love the Wookie name. I love the combos it makes. I also love the chocolate stuff, as you know, too. So think about that as you're going into the project. Buy the animals you want to work with, and maybe just you find the exact combo you want to work with, but know that in the future, there will be a super form made from the Wookie and chocolate. We'll figure out what that looks like, if that looks the same. There's still a lot of work to do in figuring all this out, but I'm just bringing you the information that I have it, and I hope it helps you make good decisions. All right, so it's Friday morning, and we're going to be putting out this video in a little bit. I just want to show you, we paired a bunch of stuff out together last night, and just to see that we're showing you that we're working kind of on towards a long-term answer towards some of this ourselves. I want to show you a pairing that we have locked up this morning. It's pretty cool. All right, here we go. So this pair is locked up. This is a chocolate Batman to a Wookie black pastel yellow belly het clown. The chocolate Batman's a really cool animal. It's an animal I've never featured on the channel. Look how dark and nice black and beautiful that animal is. The pattern is very, very bold and gorgeous. And then of course we have the Wookie, which is beautiful. Wookie black pastel yellow belly. So this will be really interesting because it'll make a super form of the Wookie and the chocolate combined. We'll see what that looks like. But just to show you how complicated and hard these things sometimes get, we're not going to know even from this, honestly, a whole lot about it, just because we're going to have leopard in the mix, spot nose in the mix, and then also black pastel and yellow belly. So we're going to have a complicated pairing here. And even if we get a super form, it's going to likely have other genes mixed in there. And the question will probably live on as far as what kind of the standard version of a super will look like. And yeah, we'll just bring it to you though as we find it. This is kind of the pace of this industry, the pace of these morphs is escalating. It makes it a lot of fun, and it also makes it hard to get really straight answers on some of the simple stuff. Look at the face on that guy. That is super cool. I love like mascara look that Batman have, and this one actually has that more than most. Really cool. So the interesting thing again about this snake is that because spot nose and chocolate are allylic, and because spot nose and Wookie are allylic, what's going to happen is this animal can throw either chocolate or spot nose, but not both. Okay, and so anything that we have in the pairing that is spot nose and appears to be Wookie, we'll know as Wookie and not chocolate. We'll have to draw the pundit square up there sometime just to show you how this all works. But really interesting to see how when this splits, we'll be able to know actually which ones are Wookie and which ones are chocolate if they're not supers. Very interesting. So as we end this video, I know a lot of you are wondering, what does a Wookie spot nose red stripe ivory even look like? Because that's got to be weird. And it is. So while I'm showing you guys this, click the subscribe button there below. I really appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. Let's check out this snake. Probably the coolest ivory you'll ever see. Look how much pattern that thing has. So this is Wookie and spot nose and red stripe. Super yellow belly, right? So in ivory, 100% het clown. And this guy is just absolutely phenomenal and really cool. Allylic, double allylic powerhouse. So super ivory, super version of Wookie and spot nose and red stripe.